Pas de soleil, 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 pas de soleil.
Oh, for crap's sake. It's bloody done it again.
Have you tried turning it on off again?
Oh, man, you guys just... This thing, it just doesn't do nice things for me. It just doesn't. It just hates me. You know what? I got on here early. To set it all up, for Christ's sake.
If only there was someone who streamed full time that could help you.
No, I know what's going on. It's just the dick thing being a dick again.
Classic dick thing.
Don't you mean the dick thing? Being a dick?
Ah, there it is.
There it is. There it is. We're all here now.
Hi.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hola.
What's Natty? What's going on? Why are you
This is where my desk. This is where my desk lives. So I packed my desk down because I was getting a new Omni desk.
Ooh.
And 4 out of the 5 packages arrived. Guess which package was missing?
The top.
The desk.
The actual tabletop.
Oh, you're joking. That's ridiculous. Wow.
Yes,
We had that with a garden shed. They sent us the frame and no walls. We put it all together and we're like, cool. Shit.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I do apologise about being late. I was putting together fans at the gym and then I went, oh crap, it's 7 o'clock.
That's the thing I've got to do.
Sorry?
That's the bit I've got to do.
Put together
Go to the
fans
gym?
at the gym or go to the gym. Sticks?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Wow, what a week. Guys, what a week. What a
Have
week
you
it's
been dealing with screaming girls all week?
Yeah, no, that's not even what I'm talking about. And, don't get me wrong, that's been happening, but that's going to happen because holidays and such. But I'm talking about Cyberpunk.
Hasn't it been
Oh,
the emotional
yeah,
rollercoaster
whirlwind.
last week of it coming out to now this week? We've had a week of it and already it's gone from the game of the generation to let's just hope it's playable.
Hey, Sticks, I'm just going to let you know your microphone's really quiet. Where is it at the moment? Is it in your beard?
Yes.
Right click on his image and see if you can turn his user volume up for you. That might help.
Oh, hang on, here we go. Oh, look.
Sorry, 2 seconds.
Give us a hello, Sticks.
Hello.
Well, that's better. Look at that.
Magically fixed.
It's over
I use it all
9,000.
Yeah, I use it all the time to turn Death Taxi down. It's great.
I'm glad that you've told me about this, Reflex. Very glad.
Wait, no, what?
What? Sorry, I can't hear you.
Yeah, thought so.
Welcome. If you're watching on Twitch, great to have you here. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, also wonderful to be deep in your ears.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is the GOA All In. This is where we catch up every week. And we've got a fair bit to cover off this week. And tonight on the show, we've got Natty Good Game. Actually, are you Natty Good Game or are you Natty WW? Because sometimes you're Natty WW and sometimes you're Natty Good Game.
So one is my email address.
Uh-huh.
And that's because Natty WW was taken because I'm pretty sure when I was 12, I set up a Gmail and then forgot about it and couldn't retrieve it. So,
Right.
yes. Now everybody knows my email. Please don't send me seizures.
Send seizures. Send seizures.
Already on it.
Yep. Send tabletops for desks as well while you're at it.
Oh, yeah, that would be really good. Yeah. Appreciate. Yeah.
Our resident fiend from across the Dutch is Reflex. He's here tonight as well.
Good evening.
Uh,
That was your child in the background, right?
yeah, it was. Is she naked?
Yep. That's why I asked.
And master of the PlayStation, our dear good friend, Mr. Sticks, is here tonight too. Welcome, guys.
That's good, people.
Oh, she's not naked. She's got a nappy on. Well, okay, that's not too bad. There's a little bit of hashtag free the nipple going on with the show tonight.
Enjoy that podcast, people.
Hello, I am _Adamir. Mexico in the house! MX.
Woo.
Mexico. Yeah, guys. Look, a couple of things before we dive into some topics tonight, and that is a huge welcome to all of the legends who have joined our community over the past week or so since we were on last. I think since we were on last, we crossed 3,000 followers on Twitch and absolutely smashing that at 3116 at the moment. So wonderful news. Thank you very much. And now, like our socials and community and everything, we're almost at 1,000 Discord members, which is just extraordinary. And
Wow.
we crossed some milestones with Twitter as well, which is pretty crazy. Yep, we did it. Today we crossed 2,000 followers on Twitter as well. So
Woo! Yes.
very cool. Very, very cool. All people very excited for prizes. We'll probably never interact whatsoever. But that's okay. It's lovely to have you here regardless. Even if I have to come and knock on your doors, each and every one of you.
Have you heard the good word of Goa?
Have you heard the good word? Oh, jeez. And T_Ruin, I'm going to say hello to as well. I think this is the first time I've seen T_Ruin in our chat. So welcome. Tequila is good. And hello to all of the legends who are our weeklies as well. Arion, Gamma, Jaina, Simi. Always wonderful to see you guys in chat. All right, let's dive in. So, Cyberpunk 2077. Before we get into discussions around whether it's a shit show, whether it's not a shit show, a couple of ground rules I just want to throw out there, okay? Everybody's playing it at their own pace. Healthy discussion. Some people are thinking it's shit. Some people are thinking it's the best thing since sliced bread. Very interesting deep dive on this now that we've all had it for a good week or so. The last time we did talk about it, Zulu was on here and it was an all-in basically about him having reviewed it and having only had 10 days with such a game to review it. Good things from him, but there's been a lot of news since. And I want to go to you first, Sticks, because there was some big news that hit today, and that is that CD Projekt Red had their first, was it investors call?
Yeah, it was an investor call in the last 24 hours. So the long and the short of it was that the CEO from CD Projekt Red, Adam, and I'm probably going to butcher this name because it's Polish, but Kaczynski, Kicinski, and also the project's marketing CEO, if you will, Mikhail. I can't even pronounce his last name. I'm not going to try and butcher it, but the long and short of it is they had a big investors call that with these things, a lot of media and whatnot are able to get transcripts of, and some of the things that came out of it were just fascinating to have the sort of insights as to of what's been going on since obviously last Thursday when the game was released. Now, I know when I was last on the podcast, Flex and I were both talking about the sort of things that have happened over the last 8 years of development, which kind of got the ball rolling in that discussion. We've had Zulu on doing the review, but things that in the background that I found really interesting were that there were no console review codes given out, regardless if it was PS5, the new Xbox, and obviously the old gen stuff. And I think now that this has seen the light of day, we've got a bit more information as to why. So some of the really interesting quotes that came out of this were from the CEO, and I'm just reading this verbatim, so I do apologise, that the management board was, quote, too focused on releasing the game and underestimated the scale of Cyberpunk 2077's problems. The direct quote was, "We ignored signals about the need for additional time to refine the game on the base last-gen consoles. It was the wrong approach and against our business philosophy." So just some really interesting stuff there, actually acknowledging that the difference in scale of, for someone such as Flex, who has amazing, hardware and graphic cards and things like this, to people who are still playing on base PS4. Keep in mind, this game was announced before the last generation of consoles was actually released. So there's probably that sort of interesting part about it. There was also one here that the quote of saying from the Senior Vice President of Business Development, obviously that did not come together exactly how we planned. with more updates will come in December, January, and February, with the larger improvements slated for the latter 2 months. Players shouldn't expect the console versions to look or run like the Windows PC version, however. That definitely is not going to happen. I'm not saying that it's going to be a bad game, but if your expectations regarding, say, visuals or other angles are like this, then we're openly stating this is not going to be the case. It will be a good, playable, stable game without glitches and crashes, though that is the intention. So yeah, just things like that came out the investor call were quite fascinating to, hear some insights from CD Projekt Red as to where they think they've obviously made mistakes with the community versus where the expectations were on launch. Personally, I haven't played it yet because I am one of the people who were lucky enough to get a PlayStation 5, and I was hoping that there was going to be an eventual standalone PS5 version. And then obviously seeing how things on the PC platform looked, while there was a slight update for the PS4 to PS5, it's still not where I wanted it to be for launch. So I personally am waiting for it. I haven't played the game, and I'll be openly admitting on that. But the difference between the base PS4 and Xbox versus top-end PC it's almost like comparing a mobile game to a next-gen game. And it's...
I don't know, man. There are some mobile games out there that look better.
Yeah, well,
sorry, that's the crazy
a
thing.
3310 game versus
So
so
Snake.
yeah, I think yeah. So yeah, I guess it's one of those ones, because if you have a look at like the history of what this game's developed on, this is base console, so old gen console, PC, next gen. Stadia is a platform that this game is available on, and I'll be the first to admit I don't know anything about of video game development, of how games are made, playtest, things like this. But in my mind, you have a room of equipment, of platforms, and you test the game rigorously. And going back to that point I made of there were no console review codes given out, the whole, I don't want to call bullshit on it, but it almost seems like the whole, hey, we didn't expect it to be this bad, is just a flat out sort of... Just
feels like a big lie, doesn't it?
There are words I want to say that aren't appropriate for the podcast, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it does actually feel like it was a big lie. It feels like a lot of people were lied to, and it's mind blowing that a game like this that has been in development for 7 years from a company like CD Projekt Red, who is so famous for some incredible titles over their time, has essentially tried to pull the wool over eyes of gamers. And like, again, whether they've actually done that knowingly or whether they've just gone, because we've all heard and read the stories about the project's crunch time over the last couple of years as well. And for those of you who don't know what crunch time is, that is when they basically overwork their staff, crazy hours, crazy conditions to try and get the game finished, essentially. And even then, throughout crunch periods, they were still delaying the release of the game. So it's kind of like it's kind of like whether they knowingly did it or didn't. Them actively going, we're not going to release any review codes for anything before Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and PlayStation 5 is almost like them owning up to the fact that they know that it was shithouse on pre-gen consoles.
Yeah, and to kind of go on that point as well is that obviously the who's who in the gaming industry who got to do the reviews had days on a PC build. A lot of the massive sort of internet community gaming sites gave their initial reviews. We looked at 8, 9, 10 out of 10, masterpiece game, game of the generation, etc., etc. And then now that people have had time on the other platforms, we're actively seeing IGN, for example, gave the PC build a 9 out of 10 and then gave the PS4 Xbox versions a 4 out of 10 with an exact warning basically saying, look, if you want to play this game, we highly recommend you wait and do not purchase it, which I'm 36 next week. In, let's say, 25 years of gaming, I don't think I've actively seen a release where it's been, hey, hold off. This is not what it needs to be right now.
But the thing is, like I'm holding my copy of Cyberpunk 2077, right? And the copy is for Xbox One. And you can't walk into an EB Games or a JB Hi-Fi or any other outlet and buy a console copy that says Series X or PlayStation 5. Like it's released in pre-gen packaging. That's the other thing that is so crazy about this entire experience at the moment. Like even the packaging that it's being presented in is buy this on your, like, this is ready to go on your pre-gen console. Like pre-current gen console, you know? So, and yes, it'll work on your Series X, but here it is for Xbox One. It just beggars belief.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, you know, that whole under promise over deliver sort of mantra in sales, especially, it just seemed it didn't hit the nail on the head at all. Because, like, from me, again, gotta say hand on heart, I know absolutely nothing about game development and how those things are made, but surely if you are delivering, and again, I've got to figure out the right words, because you would make the argument that there's probably a lot more combined sales of consoles, like platform wise, than there are kind of high end PCs, just purely from a cost point of view. You know, what are we talking, Flex? You probably what we're saying about $2,000 for your graphics card alone. Yeah.
Right now.
Straight up there, that's 4 PlayStation 4s by himself. So you would think that you'd almost be building, because I mean, as a PlayStation person, you have a look at a game like Ghost of Tsushima, which is graphically delightful. It was my game of the year this year. And you think about that had probably 1/4 of the time of development that Cyberpunk did, and you see the difference in graphics and rendering alone. Is that how did you get it so wrong? Building off a base sort of style game, you build it to the lowest possible platform, and then work your way up and increase the graphics from there. So that by the time it does hit your PC with these amazing new graphic cards, that it blurs the line between reality and a video game. Whereas it seems that one of the other quotes was that this game had almost felt like it was more tailored towards next gen and PC, and then the current console, or sorry, the previous generation of consoles was almost like an afterthought, and we went, oh, hang on, we're definitely not ready for this, but we've delayed the game, we have to launch. So,
well, then that talks that talks to how long, because there's so many layers to this.
Oh,
depending on how deep you want to dig, but that talks to how long have they had their hands on next gen console tech. You know, to be product testing this thing, because like the series, and I've heard it's buggier on the PlayStation 5 than it is on the Series X. Yeah,
there's been a lot of reported crashes.
Yeah.
A lot of the Facebook pages I'm a member of have reported, you know, up to a crash every hour on the hour, versus some people who have played 30 hours of the game and not had any crashes. But it also seems to be that going from different areas of the world have almost overpowered parts, and that's where it's kind of fallen to pieces.
I want to get to, because DropBear7322, this is a really interesting question, and I want to pose it to everybody. He's saying, is it the new Anthem? And I think there's a few different angles to that. But just quickly, guys, can you all just stare down the barrel of your camera and give me a big smile, please? 1, 2, 3, and click. Thank you. Now,
it's an interesting one, because you have a look at the history of redemption of games. No, you know, you got No Man's Sky, you've got Anthem. At least they kind of look like what they promised.
Yeah, but hang on, Anthem promised a lot. Like, so I think.
Yeah, but visually it looked good.
Yeah, visually it looked fantastic, right? But then there's another question: do you want visuals or do you want gameplay? So, I like, we've got a game like Anthem, which was visually beautiful, like it's a stunning game, but it promised a lot of gameplay and a lot of deep story and a lot of depth and raids and all sorts of stuff, and delivered absolutely none of it. Like,
we've locked up on stream.
Are we? Oh, sorry,
yeah,
that's my bad.
We are static.
That's my bad.
And I'm pausing a really good facial expression too.
Delivered absolutely none of it, right? So, like, you scratch the surface, you're digging, like you've dug its depth. Ritter AU, welcome. We're currently just talking about Anthem and its comparisons to the way that Cyberpunk has been released, right? Whereas Cyberpunk, the depth and the gameplay is there.
Yeah,
Like, it's there in space.
just looks like a potato.
Yeah, but yes, honey. Sorry, excuse me. Continue, guys. I'll be back.
The true cyberpunk experience.
Yeah. Further to Pete's point, it's like, do you want a thing that looks like a Ferrari but has a, Volkswagen Golf engine, or do you want like a sleeper style car that looks like shit but drives amazing?
Look, I just want a car that doesn't break down in the middle of a highway multiple times. Like, from everything I've heard from everybody that's played the game on something that can play it, is that the story is great, the interactions with NPCs are great, like the action is great. It's just, it doesn't run.
Flex, you've finished the storyline, haven't you? I'd love to know your thoughts. How have you found, like, everything, obviously, with your parameters that you've been able to play it on?
Well, so I've actually been holding back, my full honest truth on what I thought. I haven't lied when I've said I give it a 9.5 out of 10. The story alone, the fact that you're immersed pretty much from the get-go is... I don't think I've found another game that's done that in a long time. Like, feeling an emotional connection really quickly with some of the characters, it's very, very well done. I do give it a 0.5 for a couple of reasons. People are going to absolutely...
Don't be shy with it. Just come out with it. Come on.
Dive in.
I don't. You guys will be fine. Those
Don't
guys
be a
in that
butch.
chat that I'm looking at.
Dive on in.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so my first issue was the fact that I finished the main storyline in 15 and a half hours. They were claiming a lot more than that just for the main storyline. Now, people have gone, oh, you've rushed it. No. Watch my stream. For the last 3 days, I've been playing Cyberpunk on my stream. I watched every single cutscene through from start to finish. I watched every single interaction through to finish. I didn't rush anything. I even went and did side gigs and other things. I didn't go, must do the storyline, I've got to review it in 3 days, a la Royce. I just played the game how I felt comfortable. I would stop if I needed to and go to the bathroom, grab a drink, come back, keep playing. I was not rushing. And I was kind of left a little bit kind of like, is that it? But keep in mind, there are...
What do you mean, is that it?
Like, is that the main storyline for that arc that I was following? Obviously, I have to go back and replay it and play the other...
I was going to say, are you gonna play it again?
I am, yes. Absolutely. I'll sit down. I mean, I started off as Corpo, and I finished as Nomad. There are other ways you can finish. There are other ways you can play, absolutely. I don't know if there's a huge difference between each different storyline that you start and finish with. The way that Royce was explaining it was that you all start off, there's about a couple of hours between difference before you're on the same base storyline. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I need to sit down and play more. But if that's what it was, and yeah, maybe. I could have gone for longer. And as I did say when I posted a photo on God Mode saying, a story that left you wanting more, and not in a bad way.
Yeah, good.
The other reason I give it not full marks is there were a few bugs on the system, and I found that they were time-based bugs. So the longer in the session you go, you would start to see more and more as you went. It was very rare to start the game
from a rendering or like things just not loading style of point of view, or what do you mean?
Why can't you be tagged in photos? Sorry. Don't mind me.
Okay. I will try not to. Without, please.
Sticks, you can't be tagged in photos either. What the hell?
What are you tagging it on?
Twitter.
You're just not trying hard enough.
Sorry, continue.
No, that's all right. So, after about I didn't run into any rendering issues that I could tell. I mean, there were a couple of issues with textures popping in and out with trees out in the deserts, but otherwise throughout the city, absolutely fine. No worries whatsoever. There was one issue, one moment in the last, when I was playing it for the final playthrough. I don't know if I can find the clip quickly, but whatever. Basically, you're driving along as you're about to pull into a building to initiate the third act and kick off. And I thought, I don't know, I'll just drive the car in here and I'll roleplay a little. I'll drive the car down the ramp and drive in the building's car park, like, most normal people would. Yep. Floor wasn't there.
So what, did the car just like drop off? Or...
Yep. I ate all kinds of shit that day. Yeah, I drove into the car park and it looked, because the under the ground is the similar color as the concrete, so I was like, oh, this seems reasonable. Oh, fuck. And, the rest is history. But that was the only time in the entire game that I'd noticed an issue with either walls or floors or textures not rendering. I did see the T-pose twice, where the characters are standing there with their arms out, twice in the bar towards the end.
This otherwise, is the new dance.
Yeah, except when you go up to them and go, hey, how's it going? They look at you and tell them to off very quickly. So, pretty scary looking man scarecrows. But honestly, I'm not running into the issues that console players are running into, and it's for someone like myself who understands gaming and a little bit about how stuff works and how game streaming and texture streaming works. It's no surprise they're running into issues with textures not loading properly. The game is built for SSDs, 100%. It even says in the requirements, we recommend an SSD. I would love to see if someone had actually gone out to their nearest PLE or PB Tech and bought a 2.5-inch SSD and rebuilt their PS5 on the SSD, just how the game would perform that way. Because that's the difference between those consoles and these consoles, mainly for why they're seeing texture popping.
Wait, the PS5 doesn't have an SSD?
No, PS4.
No,
PS4.
It does.
Oh,
sorry, PS4.
Good.
Sorry.
Oh, it's like, wait, what?
No. So the new generation all has SSDs. The old generation all have mechanical spinning hard drives, which is dead tech. It's gone. Unless you've got storage and cabinet behind you that requires no speed, just heaps of it, it makes sense. But for a gaming machine, a gaming console, that they're aiming at the fast, be-all, end-all console, of course they're going to throw whatever they can at it. That's the newest and shiniest tech. But I can't help but agree. I mean, I just finished playing with a group of friends on PS4. We were playing the new Grand Theft Auto heist, KO Perico, which is also good, by the way. Thumbs up.
It is.
Thumbs up. It's really good. Quite good. It's a good step away from the normal. One of the two guys there has got a PS5, and he's also got Cyberpunk on the PS5. And he was messaging me throughout the week going, I don't know about you, but it seems like Grand Theft Auto, which was released in 2013, the city just feels... Yeah, on the PS3 and Xbox 360. He says, it seems like it's just way more... Like, the city seems way more alive in Grand Theft Auto after all these years.
I've heard that, yeah.
Than the PS4 and last generation copies do on the latest console. And I hadn't seen the latest console or how it ran, so I had a quick look on Twitch at a few people playing it, and fuck me. No wonder y'all upset. Holy shit.
I think the best sort of like graphical comparison I've seen so far was a post in God Mode. I can't remember who did it, but it had the Jurassic Park
that was so
theme
good
on the background, and it had obviously running on a PC with a brand new graphics card, all that sort of stuff, and then went to the PS4 or whatever Xbox version that had the clarinet style of Jurassic Park theme playing in the background.
That was what I saw.
It was mind blowing. It was like watching a different sort of movie altogether.
So I do completely understand where people who are playing it on last gen are, and
do you think it's one of these things that we give as consumers and as gamers, we build into too much hype, because obviously, this game's been out or has been talked about for such a long time, or B, because of who the developer is and what they've done in history? Because I know, Natty, you've been quite vocal about holding people to account, and I think that's 100% correct. We deserve better. We should be holding people to account. Is it one of those things that, because I was speaking to Inferno about this the other day. When Witcher 3 came out, that wasn't near the standard it is now. But obviously different times and different matters. Is it something that we should probably not build into as much hype, or is it that equal happy ground of you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that you can't blame the fans for getting hyped when they've been hyping this for 8 years. That's not fair. And I think that the attitude, I've had a lot of people express it's a big open world game, so of course it's not going to work on a PS4. I think that at the end of the day, you've got to look at the vision of the game and what they were showing and what they were talking about. And I honestly think that this game could have never been what they promised on the PS4 or the Xbox. I just don't think it was ever possible.
I don't know that it could have ever been what they promised on anything, but that's not even necessarily by virtue of what they promised, though. Because this goes a level above what they promised because of the things that happen along the way. So here we go. So Arion, for example, just popped this in chat. It's not his fault, but having a huge name like Keanu Reeves put the game on a higher pedestal.
I just saw that.
When Keanu Reeves comes out and reveals to the world at a major gaming show that he's going to be in Cyberpunk 2077, you're breathtaking. Oh my God, hype level. That guy in the audience, he gets himself... I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. He got himself... everybody starts reading that the guy in the audience who yelled out, "You're breathtaking," and Keanu pointed at him and said it back. He got himself a collector's edition, and CD Projekt Red reached out to it. CD Projekt Red became the messiah. They became a company that was above everybody else. In particular for the last few years. And they could have said anything. They could have said, we're going to let your character shit in the game, and you're going to be able to, customize what color it's going to be. And everybody would have gone, whoa! And then, I just kind of feel like that level of hype, it would have gotten to the game, and people would have gone, it's just a shit in a toilet. You know what I mean? That's kind of where I feel like they got to a level where no matter what they said, the community hyped it to a point where CD Projekt Red themselves, it was taken out of their hands, and they would not have been able to have matched that level of expectation.
Well, put out a demo, a playable demo.
Yeah, you could.
So
people
actually have an idea.
But then you've got that double-edged sword of playable demos leading into just being hype killers altogether. Because can you imagine if a playable demo came out for last-gen console before this game was released? I can guarantee 95% of the population who own those things would have gone...
Maybe they wouldn't have gotten certification from Microsoft and Sony.
Maybe.
That's the other thing that I'm surprised about, is that if it ran so poorly, that why didn't Sony and Microsoft look at them and go, the fuck?
Maybe they didn't know.
This is the thing, right? Did
well.
Sony and Microsoft actually get what was delivered to PlayStation 4 and Xbox
They
customers?
have to have. They have to have. They get certed before it goes through. It has to be done.
Because I was reading about how it works, and I know that they give publishers a bit of extra leeway that they know have a good reputation for, putting out games that work. So there's obviously, understandably, some leeway there. But if the game was crashing every hour, there's no way Sony would have stamped it. So that's the bit I don't.
Unless
to be a fly on the
interesting to
wall
see
wherever
what
these conversations were happening.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens in a month's time, in 2 months' time. We could probably come back to the conversation of where things are running once the January and February patch that have been promised come out, and see how much of a difference that one makes. Do we give the benefit of the doubt, obviously, of times of unprecedented nature of COVID and things like that, and how much studios are working from home. Do we say, well, come patch time, if it's still crap, then yeah, let's get the pitchforks out. But it's such a difficult thing to do, because we are all 100% in agreement on that people shouldn't get so wound up to the point that they're sending death threats to publishers. That's not honourable. Like that shit is just like, take a step back.
Ridiculous.
It's a $100 game. Yes, there are a lot more important things going on, and you probably thought about this way too much, but it's a game. Like,
yeah,
it can be improved.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen in the past games, who have had the redemption, because there's a lot of them out there, and we all love a good redemption story. That's the beauty about what happens, and yeah.
Personally,
you go.
Sorry, I was going to say, personally, I went into it thinking, and everyone who had watched along on my stream, all 3 of them, because the rest of them were off waiting to play, those of them who didn't get the game and wanted to see it play on something that could because of what they heard, no brags at all, but they legitimately said that. Like, they've seen the shit reviews on PS4, they want to see what it's like on a high-end PC, so that's why they watched there. I told them, and I said, look, I'm not going into this expecting this to be a technological marvel. I've seen the information, I've seen the stuff that the last gen was doing. My personal opinion on that is they should have either cancelled last gen altogether and held off PC and said, guys, we're going to do it all at once the next gen is ready, because PC is definitely ready, bar a few minor bugs they can patch out.
I have a counterpoint to that, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but it should have been a PC exclusive for the first year.
First year?
It should have, yeah, minimum. I think, hand on heart, looking at how this whole thing has worked out, like, do you have the specs, like, near you by any chance, Flex, of what the minimum running specs are to play it on PC? Because basically, if you have a game that should be accessible to everyone, it should be ready to play for everyone. And I'm a firm believer in if you have a look at games that have improved off base model. I'll use my personal example of Destiny. Everyone knows how much of a Destiny I am in this team. Ran 30 frames a second, 60 hertz, things like that. The moment that got ported to PC, it was like a brand new game, and now we've finally caught up to that from a console point of view. So this game is incredible on PC. It should have been a PC release only, and then given more time to get to where it needs to be, because you have a brand new generation of consoles that released in the last 2 months. You shouldn't have an upscaled OG version on a new platform. You should have a standalone platform, standalone game for that platform by itself. I'm not a fan of that whole, hey, here's an Xbox 360 game and it's good on Xbox Series X, or here's a PS3 game that's good on PS4. It should be, that's the platform and that's what it works on.
They probably saw what Rockstar did.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Went, that can't be too hard. Ooh, whoops.
Yeah. So I mean,
but they kind of went backwards.
What are the specs that you need?
So for claiming minimum, i5 3rd gen, so we're talking 10 years old. FX 8310, yeah, same year. So AMD FX series, which is old. GTX 780 or RX 470, so similar kind of vintage. 8 gigs of RAM, 3 gigs of VRAM, so that's whatever. 70 gigs of storage, and Windows 7 or Windows 10. And that's to target 1080p at low. Medium is 4th gen, and then Ryzen 3 3rd gen, which is kind of weird because Intel i7 4th gen is about 8 years old, and Ryzen 3 3rd gen is not that old. Like, when did I'm not an AMD guy, I can't stand it. When did the Ryzen 3rd gen come out? Like that, they've only just gone to the 5th gen because they skipped 4th, so it must have been in the last 4 years. Yeah, I know, right?
Did they just lose count?
Well, what are we up to? 5.
To be fair, they did that with Intel too. They skipped, what did they?
They just ran out of teeth. 1, 2.
But that's what all the big companies. At some point, if you're a big company, you've got to skip something. Like
absolutely.
Like
you're finishing the game and releasing, yeah.
Like if you're Samsung, you've skipped S11 through S19 to get to S20 for your Galaxies.
It's true.
If your Xbox, you've gone from 360 to 1 to...
Not even a number.
The Roman numeral for 10.
At least
like
Sony got it right, yes.
If you're a WWE, you just drop the numbers altogether. You're too good for those now.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing that I did have an issue with was the specs for 4K Ultra with ray tracing.
Mm.
Now, this is the one that got me. Is they said a Core i7 4790, which again, 7 to 8 years old, and a Ryzen 3 3200, all good, and an RTX 3080 or 3090. Now, I have a 3090. 3080. Fuck, I wish I had a 3090. I have a 3080. And what they say here is that with these specs, I also have a Core i9 9900K, so not a slow processor, 32 gigs of RAM, a bunch of SSDs. You know, it's not slow. They wanted those old specs plus the 3080 to reach 60 frames per second at 4K. Now, I'm not running a 4K monitor. I'm running a 240 Hz esports monitor, so fast refresh rate, but it's full HD. And I would see 60 FPS sometimes. But it was anywhere from, I think, when it was really hectic, like when it was raining and you're in the middle of town and shit's blowing up, I think I dipped to maybe 45 for a split second or two. It wasn't unplayable, but if I didn't have the FPS counter up in the top corner, I wouldn't have known.
Okay.
The way that the frames are all interleaved with the way that they've done all the graphics and everything makes it look buttery smooth when the frame rate dips, but it's not that. Now,
it's fascinating you say that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, this doesn't
there's
feel
a
right.
video going around on YouTube from IGN of the technology of the software of actual console frame rates, and it was sitting at around anywhere between 10 to 15 at parts on PlayStation 4.
Which is Grand Theft Auto Online at the moment as well.
Madness.
Yeah. Now, there are also some games that will take advantage of the higher resolutions. So, because I don't have a 4K monitor, I don't know. I can try increasing the rendering and seeing if that helps, but Gamma says here he gets 50 to 60 FPS in 4K. So I suspect that because it's at a lower rate, the engine doesn't like to run faster than 60.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I suspect that the hardware is capable of 60. I will have to test and probably let you know next week at this stage, but that was my finding, was it was sub 60, not all the time. Like, it was a good 60 most of the time, but there were times there where I was like, that's a very expensive graphics card, and it's running worse than Minecraft. What the fuck?
Yeah, wow. Hey, have you tried it on the new bit of tech?
On the Series X?
Yeah.
That's where I'm playing it.
Oh yeah. So how are you finding it on that?
It's perfect. Like I have not had any issues. The game looks crisp. It looks beautiful. It looks smooth.
You're cutting out, mate.
How's this?
That's better.
I haven't had any issues. The game looks crisp. It looks beautiful. It looks smooth. It plays well. Under load, if I can even say that that's happening. But I'm talking about, like fight sequences where there's a lot going on. There's explosions, and you can tell that it's working to process. I'm not having any issues whatsoever.
Yeah, cool.
I haven't seen any of the little pee-pee poke out from the pants like some people are reporting.
I've seen nipples.
Sorry?
I've also had moments. I've seen nipples. And I've had moments where my pants didn't even render. When I'm standing up in front of a crowd, there's the dick flapping in the breeze.
Yeah. Oh, we had $1 for every time that happened.
But what about the game?
Yeah, I know, right? Nothing to see here. Literally nothing to see. All balls.
But admittedly, I'm having the reported experience that most Xbox Series X players are reporting. That is that they're not having any issues whatsoever. So I don't know if it might have something to do with the obvious correlation of the native tech that an Xbox Series X is running alongside a PC versus the PlayStation 5 and it being a little bit more left of center.
It's running Windows 10.
Well, there you go.
That's right.
I mean, like it's about as close. It's saying something about the way that they've obviously built and developed this game. If it's running beautifully on PC, and then the only current gen console running Windows 10 or as close to those specs is the Xbox Series X, and it's running beautifully there. And then the PS5 is having issues, and then everything below that is having issues as well.
That also raises a question as well, because I mean, if I can go back to PS3, like developers were struggling with the PS3 because the way of its own cell architecture, which is what Sony brought in to be their new Fandangle Magic chip. Devs hated it. They couldn't stand it. It was an absolute nightmare to unlock the entire chip to use. That's why PS3 games started to look great. Exactly. That's why you don't get backwards compatibility with PS3 games. It's because the games were written for a CPU that was a one-off. You don't use that anymore. But the PS5 and the Xbox Series, they run the same CPU. They are very close to each other. They're both AMD. I don't remember the model, but they're both AMD. They're both x64, which is, people who are going, oh, but they're the same chips and all that. It's because Sony's core operating system on top of the PlayStation is not the same as the Xbox. And people are going, but I'm paying X amount for this, and it's the same stats and same hardware. And for those that don't know, that's where they're getting tripped up. They're going, why does it run like shit there but run great on there? It's the same thing. No, it's not. It's like Android and iPhone. They do the same job. They make text, they take calls, they play Angry Turds. That's my name for Angry Birds when you're taking a poo. But they do the same thing, but you can't run the software on there without a substantial rewrite. And yeah,
which
and
goes
also
back to that original point that I made of you'd think in the game development that you've got one of everything that you're making this game for and testing it on. But hey, again, what do I know?
Hey,
Natty, you're not far off.
Natty, I want to go over to you. Any open thoughts about this? Are you playing it?
Oh, we lost you again,
we
mate.
Totally lost you there.
Oh, I know what's happening. It's because I'm streaming everything at the moment, and I'm having a couple of issues. But, Natty, are you playing the game?
No. So I generally don't play open world games because I have decision fatigue in my real life. So unless the game is on rails, I don't want to spend my leisure time making a whole bucket load of choices. Character creators legit will take me 5 hours. Nice. And I will sit and think about my name for about an hour. So the idea of something like Cyberpunk was I love the Cyberpunk theme, tabletop RPGs, that's my jam. But just couldn't bring myself to pick it up. Also, I have not a potato PC, but it's 3-4 years old now, so I don't know if my experience would be particularly good that I don't have an Xbox Series console, and I'd be running it on my PS4 Pro. So I suspect I would be having not a great experience anyway.
Just quickly on that point of character customization. So, like you, Reflex, you've played the game through. Did you feel a little bit let down by the amount of character customization?
There were too few dicks for my liking.
Okay. No, great.
What about size-wise? Hang on. Tell me when to stop. How big you go? What? Flexi.
Sorry, hang on. Start again.
There's only two options. There's a large and a small.
Yep.
And if you're an honest man like me, you went the small.
Absolutely.
It's a role-playing game, Pete. It's a role-playing game.
I modelled it off myself. It was a small penis and really black.
It was 8 inches around, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was a chode.
You're just on a bouncy ball, aren't you? Just bouncing around.
I'm a moon hopper. That's all I am, moon hopper.
I'm actually, I was actually genuinely oh, is that it? Because I expected so much more. I expected so much more.
Because some of the stuff that's come out, like the handsome Squidward and the everything's alright mean guy, just from a photo point of view, make it look like the customization is next level.
Yeah. The customization for facial structure and designing this is great. Everything below here,
From the neck down.
There's
from
nothing.
the neck down, it's just,
Okay.
do you have nipples, titties, dick, what? That's it.
And but
Bare
even
minimum.
even things like and maybe this has got a lot to do with how this game was hyped and the level that it found itself versus because there's a lot of things in this game that people would have gotten caught up in the hype of it and projected in their own mind what they were expecting to see.
He's seen it too. He just saw the message in chat.
What?
Arion said, "Don't worry, I gave Elon a big willy. His character's name is Elon." And then Lukey Bangers, was it elongated?
Bravo.
By the way, if you want to know what Arion's talking about, go to our Twitter. It's at GameOn_AUS, at GameOn_Oz, and we've posted the picture of the Elon Musk Cyberpunk 2077 character that Arion created. It's incredible. Like, it is absolutely incredible. So, yes, the customization opportunities from the neck above, but everything below. And like I was saying, like I don't know if it was because the hype train, left the station to the point where people projected this expectation onto the game, right? And unfairly so to CD Projekt Red, because CD Projekt Red never spoke about, the level of character customization. I think they mentioned that, I remember reading the headline, you'll be able to customize your character's genitalia, and people went, oh my god, if you can do that, geez, the boundaries are endless with regards to how much you'll be able to customize this character. So projected unfairly onto CD Projekt Red the expectations, and I think as a result, like they've suffered from the very start of the game. They've suffered, poor expectation versus what's actually happening, or greater expectation than what has actually happened for the player. Because I went from the neck down and went, is that it? Like, are there only like half a dozen different skin colors? Are there only nipples or no nipples? Are there only 8 different tattoos that you can choose from? Like,
oh wow,
I honest to God just went, wow, that's a bit of a letdown. Like, I was expecting a lot more.
In the customization, is there the ability to render your own face off a webcam?
No.
Okay. I'm just curious to know because.
If you've got the time, you can model your own face, but there's no.
I was going to say, good friend of the podcast, Champ Chong, on his PS5 on NBA 2K21, rendered his face off of that, and it's him. Like, there's no sort of second guessing it.
Yeah,
that's a EA licensed tech that they wrote for those games. It's been around for a wee while. They did it for Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 as well, or no, 3, I think, when it was on PS3, back when the iToy camera came in, or that was 2. Yeah. I don't know, I can't remember. But it was a thing in one of those games. But that is a big EA thing that they push with all their sports games.
That's the 2K one, not EA.
2K.
2K, sorry, not EA. Yep, not EA. Do I look like I follow sports? No. Do I look like I follow sports?
Sorry, Natty, were you about to say something there, Nat?
I was just wondering if it's one of those, like, they had the ambition to have that level of customization through the whole body, and they went, well, we'll prioritize the face, and we've run out of time because
COVID.
COVID. Or the potato can't run the game, what's going on? And so they were dumping resources into that,
To be fair to that, you don't see a lot throughout the game of under the clothes.
Yeah.
It would be a waste of time for them to put that level in unless you purposefully take all your clothes off and run down the street naked, which you can do. There would be no reason. There was all
these sex scenes.
I
was expecting you to be able to admire your own body.
No, you can, and the guy holding the camera. Get weird.
Flex, how many times do you reckon you're going to replay it? You're going to go second, third, fourth?
I'll probably do minimum 3. Do the other 2 starting lines, because as I said, started off Corpo, which I'll be honest. After the podcast, Royce did mention if you were going to start with one, recommend Nomads or Corpos, because they have the more entertaining opening lead. But yeah, probably at least 2 more times. I don't know if I'll do them on stream. Probably do them, in my own time, because again with the creation stuff, I played it from first boot to finish on stream. I didn't touch it off stream. So even my character creation was just like, there are people waiting. Oh, fuck it, this will do. Just go for it. Not a problem. I didn't really look too far into it. So I really do feel quite sorry for the people you do have sex with in that game, because they had to sleep with that monstrosity of a human being / cyborg. It's really not that pretty. It's like a ginger with a soul. Things that just don't exist. Anyone here ginger with a soul? No?
Well, it doesn't, mate. You ask that question before you say something like that, not afterwards.
Oh yeah, just like you develop a game for the last gen console before you do the next gen, not the other way around.
Got him.
Opposite day.
Hey, another thing off the back of that call, just quickly, that I'm just reading, and just some clarifications on refunds and stuff like that. CD Projekt Red said players can get refunds for their game by contacting Microsoft or Sony. Some players have reported that the console makers are denying refunds.
Sony cracked the shits on it big time.
Some believe that CD Projekt Red's message implied that refunds would be guaranteed, but the developer clarified in Tuesday's conference call that it has no special arrangement with Microsoft or Sony regarding refunds. To get a refund on a purchase, it must meet the requirements set up via the particular storefront. For instance, Sony's policy is that players can get a refund on purchases made within 14 days if the software hasn't been downloaded. Valve's Steam storefront is similar. Refunds are available for games purchased within a 14-day time frame, though it allows for 2 hours of playtime. Now,
Pete, I'm sending you a picture that you need to have a look at here. This was taken off the PlayStation Owners Australia page of a customer having the interaction with the PlayStation customer service. It is amazing.
Can you DM that to my Twitter?
Yeah, to your Twitter. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, DM that to my Twitter, because then I can bring it up on stream. So
I know that EB and JB were accepting physical copy returns without question.
But the thing is, as part of the ACCC, and this has gone back to remember all the brouhaha with regards to. Thank you. With regards to Steam and what happened with the Steam store, back and forth with the Australian government, the ACCC, about, 6 months ago, 12 months ago, thereabouts. Where the government came down hard on Steam and went, no, if you're selling this stuff in Australia, you abide by Australian law, not international sales law, Australian sales law, and if people are unsatisfied or unhappy, granted for good reason, then you must accept the refund and you must pay them back, as per the ACCC's rules. Now, I would say that would imply that is the same case with regards to anybody who's sold anyone a copy of Cyberpunk 2077. You are the storefront. However, I'll just grab this from Styx and bring it up.
Just while you're grabbing that, Nettie, your comment about Microsoft and Sony, was the game even vetted by them before they went out? It's funny you should say that. I don't know how many people have actually played it through and watched the credits. I mean, I did. I gave them all courtesy and watched the credits from start to finish. And Microsoft and Sony and Good Old Games had full teams of people that all had different credits, like account manager, partnership manager, tester, blah, blah, blah. Valve had one guy.
Wow.
It was just Valve and then one person, and that was it. I was like, that's... Weird. What did he do? Because everyone else had a full team. Valve's just like, yeah, good, sweet. Good.
Tim, good job, buddy.
Yeah, pretty much. It was just one guy going, fine, just release it, I don't care. But yeah, I was quite surprised at full teams versus a dude.
Just with the whole Steam and returns thing, I've returned stuff that I've played 8 hours plus in. I think they go, they're from Australia, just to do what they say.
ACCC said yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
So this
It's going with the
Sony, this Sony PlayStation, this screenshot. So this is definitely from support.playstation.com. And what is this, Sticks? It's a chat between someone trying to return the game.
So this is a chat between a consumer trying to return Cyberpunk.
Right. So the consumer is obviously me, like ME,
Yep.
And Erica V is PlayStation Store. So, me, the game is not fully developed, the textures are horrible, and there's game-breaking bugs. As I said, the developers offered refunds to all purchasers. Erica,
Do you want me to roleplay the Erica?
yeah,
side?
you do Erica.
Okay.
Ooh, fun.
According to our records, the content has been downloaded/streamed. I'm sorry, due to the restrictions outlined in the PlayStation Store cancellation policy, a refund cannot be made for this transaction.
That's simply not true. This is a different condition with Cyberpunk.
We totally understand you paid for this game and want to enjoy it. Reason why you're requesting a refund, and although it cannot be processed, rest assured that the game publisher has officially communicated they are working on 2 large patches coming to you in the next month and February as well. This will fix major issues that you are experiencing at the moment and will allow you to enjoy the full gaming experience.
They are offering refunds to every single person. Refer to their Twitter. It says so right there. They said to contact PlayStation directly and they will issue refunds due to the unfinished game.
Thank you so much for your interest in Cyberpunk 2077. As informed on the recent post by CD Projekt Red, 2 large game patches will be released in January and February. That should resolve many of the issues that you are currently experiencing with the game.
Wow.
We kindly ask that you please wait and keep an eye on those announced updates. We appreciate your kindness and understanding.
In the same statement that they said that, they also stated to issue refunds, and that's where the chat finishes. This is
It's just mind-blowing, hey?
incredible, but this is obviously a crazy breakdown between publisher and... Yes, yes.
I want Mummy's phone.
Okay, well, you ask Mummy. Thank you. Those of you listening, welcome and watching to the most wholesome stream on the internet. So this is obviously a crazy breakdown in communication, but would that be Cyberpunk 2077 and CD Projekt Red just assuming that if you're a retailer, your duty of care to the consumer is to allow them to refund a game?
The opportunity, yeah.
Like that's, I would say, no matter where you are around the world, in no matter what market you purchase a game, if the game is horrible and you are the retailer who has sold that game, then the onus is on the retailer to offer the refund.
And then get their money back from the publisher.
Right, like that's the way that's the way that it goes, and I don't know. It's obviously something we're going to do a little bit of research in and have a look at, and we'll have more information next time. But like as somebody who's worked in different kinds of retail over the years, and even to the extent of owning and running a business, like if you're selling somebody else's product as the front of house, like company to end consumer portion of that sales transaction, the onus is on you, and then you have to take up the issue with your supplier.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
100%. Being in the booze industry, if you purchase something through, say, a big green building, you don't come back to me for the refund, you go back to the building.
Yeah. It's interesting,
Sony...
though. I'm wondering if there's, like... I wonder if Sony are worried that CD Projekt might not hold up their end of the bargain and offer the refunds. Like, even though they've announced it officially, they've lied about
Didn't
other
they just
stuff.
get $800 million in sales? I'm sure they're not short of $1 at the moment.
Yeah.
Sony are notoriously difficult to get refunds from.
They are incredibly
I've
hard.
been shafted by them recently. I sold my PS4 Pro to someone over COVID because they didn't have one, so I gave it to them for cheap. Me and my friends picked up Grand Theft Auto Online again. I couldn't find my disc, so I signed in to PS Online, bought the Black Friday sale copy of Grand Theft Auto on my account. It was the first time it had been on that account as a downloadable content. Went to my wife's PS4, got a disc, found my disc, put the disc in the console, wasn't online, installed the game offline. As that was installing, I emailed Sony and said, hey, sorry, I actually found my disc. Can I have a refund? I didn't mean to do this. The game hasn't been installed via download. It hasn't been streamed. Nothing. What do you think they came back with? we're sorry, your content has been downloaded and streamed.
No, I know what they came back with. Thank you so much for your interest in Cyberpunk
Yes,
2077.
yes, actually, yes, they did.
There's a
That
brand
was
new
the
patch
line.
coming next month.
But they came back to me and said, you've streamed and downloaded the content. I said, how the hell is that possible? The console's not even connected to the wireless. It's never been. We're sorry, but as you've streamed and downloaded the content, you've gone against our rules and we can't issue a refund. How?
Wow.
Yeah, still parts of the industry unregulated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Like, you mean to tell me their system can't tell whether it's been downloaded or installed from a disk? They see it's installed. Oh, it must have come through the download. We obviously. No, dickhead. There's a disk in there.
They just make it too hard so people don't push to get what they are owed.
Go to the ombudsman. He'll help.
It was $15 for the game. I'm really not too worried, but it's the principle. It's like,
Of course.
is your system that bad? Like, your Sony, come on.
Sorry, guys, we're 5 minutes past the hour, so we've got to hand things over. Menfonzo's on tonight. But just quickly, Madsy Angel, who's dived in, welcome to the community. Great to have you here, but also great to see you in chat as well. The technical glitches plaguing CD Projekt SA's Cyberpunk 2077 game have cut more than US $1 billion off the wealth of the company's founders. Perhaps more seriously, the quality first image of the studio has been shaken and may not be easy to win back, was in today's news. I mean, obviously, you know, the image of the company's been shaken, so that's a given. The thing that will be interesting to see how it plays out will be the patches, because they're going very hard on the messages, and we'll end it here unless anybody's got some final thoughts, but it'll be, how do the patches affect the execution of the game, and these issues, do they fix them? Because if they fix these issues, then I think we've got, like, in 3 months' time, and we saw it with OpenCritic earlier today, where they released a statement and said, due to the different ways that this game is being received, depending on the console it's being reviewed on, we have decided to suspend our review system for Cyberpunk 2077 until the patches are released and there's a more consistent thing across all platforms, right? So if that's the case, then it will be interesting to see in 3 months' time. If they fix those issues, then we've got a 9 out of 10 again. Right, we've got an 8 or a 9 out of 10 game. I actually don't think, regardless of whether or not it's a perfect game in 2 or 3 months' time, we'll see masterpiece reviews. I don't think we'll see it. I think they've cooked the release to the point where people, just out of whether it be spite or just out of integrity as journalists, just won't do it. But I if they fix it, we'll have our 8s or our 9s out of 10s.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, any final thoughts before we hand things over to Menfonzo? We'll go around the room. Sticks, starting with you.
I don't, but I wanted just to, actually, can I go last?
Yeah, sure. Flexi?
I'm looking forward to the DLCs and what they can do to it. I give them mad props for at least owning up to it and coming up publicly, taking it on the chin and going, yep, okay, you got us, but, you know, please don't hate us. It'll be like the BP oil spin all over again. Oh, we're sorry. And you keep using fuel anyway, so here we go.
Yeah.
Maddie?
Play Persona 4 Golden instead. That's what I'm doing.
Not a sponsor. Echoing what Flex said, you know, we all love a good redemption story. That I have just one thing to say that's not based on anything we've been chatting about, but it's just something I want to put out there. I want to give a shout out to one of our community members in Discord, Mystic Mayhem, mate. We've seen you going through a few things. We're all thinking of you. We're here if you need a chat, mate. Keep your head up, and community's here for you, mate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, love it. Beautiful. Beautifully said. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. If you're listening to this, thanks for listening. If you're watching this, thanks for watching. If you are watching this live right now, hang around, because Menfonzo's diving in, and surely being Menfonzo, he'll have Shadowlands stuff going on. World of Warcraft, absolutely hammering away. Wow. GameOz.com for all of the latest updates. And of course, I'll just finish on 12 Games of Christmas, you guys. We are doing so much at the moment with 12 Games of Christmas. If this is the first time you're hearing about 12 Games of Christmas, it's our 3rd annual 12 Games of Christmas giveaway.
Where have you been?
Yep. And it's bigger and it's better. But just quickly, For the first 12 days, December 1 to December 12, we reveal all of the brands putting something under the tree. And then December 13 to December 24, we reveal all of the prizes. And right now, we're into day 4. And the prizes that have been popping up are just...
Have we done a Samsung and skipped today?
Is it? Are we up to day 3 or day 4?
I think I think we're 4.
No, we're day 4. We're day 4. Even I'm losing track.
Yep. We are 4.
But just quickly, for the prizes, day 1, there's 2 Battle gaming chairs and 2 $100 gift cards. Day 2 is a whole heap of Wizards of the Coast Dungeons and Dragons books to give away. Day 3...
That was Wizards of the Coast.
Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast Dungeons and Dragons. Day 3, 2K packs, where you'll get Mafia Definitive Edition and NBA 2K21 and WW2K Battlegrounds as well for both PS4 and Xbox One X. And day 4 is the EPOS GSP 370 headset.
Good bit of gear.
Yeah,
Amazing.
very good bit of gear. Guys, I'm going to just quickly roll out day 5 because I have dropped it in the Discord right now.
Ooh.
But day 5,
Exclusive.
Yep, Xbox and PS4 packs featuring FIFA 21 Ultimate Edition, Star Wars Squadrons, and Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. So PS4 and Xbox packs. And we got something for the PC legends out there as well. Star Wars Squadrons, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered, and Snowy Escape expansion packs for The Sims 4 as well. So, man, multiple prizes, multiple winners. It's just huge. It's the biggest 12
And still
games
more
Christmas
announcements to
we've ever
come.
had. 100%. We've still got another 7 days worth. So, hold on to your seats. Yeah, we'll do one more next week. Straight Jacket Jim. We will definitely do one more next week, being that Christmas will be just around the corner. So, a bit of a Christmas theme. Join us for it. Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you to you 3 legends. And we'll
Thanks
catch
for
you
having
guys
us.
across the
Thanks for
community
having
in
us.
the Discord. All right. Hang around for Menthonzo. Ta-ta.
Don't forget to say it.
Bye-bye.